Hi guys, welcome back to Locally Raised. If you're new here, my name is Marta, and today we are working with cranberries. This is the time of year when we can get these in the grocery store. Most of the year they're not available, but in that window from November through December, a little bit into January sometimes, most grocery stores in my area carry these. I'm sure yours do too. So this is my time to can all of my cranberry juice for the year. If you're newer to canning, this is a very beginner-friendly recipe. So let me walk you through the steps. We're gonna start with prepping our jars and our pot for canning. To get started, I'm just going to fill my jars with hot water. Typically with water bath canning, you want your jars to be warm before you fill them. That keeps them from getting shocked by the heat and breaking. Often you can warm your jars by filling them with water and putting them in a saucepan that's partially filled with water and just keeping that on low heat. However, my tap water runs really hot, and I've found that it works just as well for me to fill them with the hottest water that I can run and just let them sit that way. Now that my jars are heating up, I'm gonna prepare two pots. One pot is my water bath canner, and I'm gonna fill it with water and let that start to heat up so it's ready for the jars. And then I'm also gonna prepare a pot of hot water because that's what we're going to ladle into our jars to make juice. I find that if I fill the pot about halfway, 7-quart jars, when they're lowered into the pot, will be covered by about 1 inch of water, which is what we want. The final preparation I'm gonna make for canning is to soak my lids. I know that I'm doing 7 quarts today, so I've got 7 lids here. If you're curious, I've been using 4 jars lids lately. I've found that I've had really good success with those sealing. It's just been about half a year since I've switched to using these. Anyhow, soaking them in warm water helps to activate this kind of gummy bander on the outside so that it's more likely that your jars will successfully seal. I'm gonna dump that hot water out of my jars. They're warm now, and I'm ready to start assembling them. This recipe is so simple. It's 3 ingredients, and one of those ingredients is water. So really you could say it's 2 ingredients. Let me get my jars. All right, we're ready to assemble our jars. Let me just grab my cranberries and my sugar. We're gonna start with 1.5 cups of cranberries in each jar. Last year was my first time making this, and I know that I'm just gonna do it from now on. This is gonna be a staple for us. My kids now, they're 5 and 3. They know how to just go down to the pantry and grab a jar of this juice off the shelf, and it looks really cheery. I actually, last year, left all my jars up on the counter throughout the winter season, and it just brought me joy to see them there. Almost every person who came over to our house in that season asked about this and wanted to know what it was. When I was thinking about making a video with some cranberry things in it, I couldn't decide if I should make it closer to Thanksgiving or to Christmas. I initially associate cranberries with Thanksgiving because of course the cranberry sauce. When I thought about it, cranberries are pretty Christmassy too. I can't decide which season they belong to more. Maybe they just belong to winter. So that was 4 12-ounce bags of cranberries, and that was the right amount. I've got a little bit left over here, but if I'd bought 3 bags, I think it wouldn't have been enough. So if you want to make a full canner's worth of juice, I would buy 4 12-ounce bags. Next is sugar. You can adjust this to your tastes. Cranberries definitely need a little sugar. Often I like to have no sugar in my juice, but cranberries are so tart, they need some sweetener. You can do anywhere from a 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup, depending on your tastes. For us, the sweet spot has been a 1/3 cup. Let me grab that measure. For cranberry salad this year, I'm gonna try sweetening it with maple syrup. But for the juice, I'm fine with using sugar. Mostly my kids eat this, drink this. If you've been watching my channel, you know I've been trying to stay away from sugar just because it's been giving me headaches. I don't know if this is what it means to get closer to middle age, but anyhow, we can do sugar in this. My kids will be fine with a little bit of sugar in their bodies. Finally, it's time for the water. Let me go get it. This water was just below boiling, so close to boiling, but not quite. We want to fill our jars to 1/2 inch of headspace, but I've found that it's a little awkward measuring headspace with this recipe because the cranberries all float. They are eager to go to the top. So I've come up a little short on hot water. I've run out of this and I've got 1 more jar left to go. So I just heated up a pot in my tea kettle. I often keep water in the tea kettle when I know I'm gonna do a canning project because this happens all the time. I'm just gonna give these a stir, get any air bubbles out. As you can see, it's awkward to try to measure headspace because the cranberries are floating above the liquid, so there's not a clear surface to measure to. I don't want to measure all the way down to the liquid because eventually these will be submerged and they'll displace some liquid and it could get too high if I measure to that lowest point. So I'm trying to measure around towards the top of the cranberries. It can't be a super exact science in this recipe, but 1/2 inch headspace is what we're going for. These are about right for me. So we're ready for lids and bands. It really does come together so fast. There's a little prep work, of course, always for canning, but the actual assembly of the jars, I mean, that's a 10-minute process. And once these are in the canner, you're just about done. So I like making this. This is something I can do on a day when I feel a little busy or not super energized. And I still get to see 7 canned quarts and feel like I've done something. All right, so lids are on. Gonna put bands on to fingertip tight. That means I'm just using the tips of my fingers and I'm not cranking it as tight as I can get it. They're ready. Let's get these into the canner. Look at that. The water from my tea kettle was hotter than the water in my pot, and it's already started to create juice. That's cool. You can see they're covered in about 1 inch of water, so they're good to go. This water was already at a boiling point, so I'm ready to start my processing time. I'm gonna set a timer for 25 minutes. While I'm waiting on those jars of juice to process, I've got these few cranberries left over, and I just remembered that last year when I canned cranberry juice, I bought some supplies to make a floating votive cranberry centerpiece for my table, and I never made it. I just kind of ran out of time. So I'm gonna go grab the jar that I bought for that, or the bowl that I bought, and let's make a little centerpiece. I bought this bowl a couple years ago at a thrift store, intending to turn it into a terrarium. But that's just one of those things that I often run out of time and energy and don't do. And then I bought this last year, intending to turn it into a centerpiece. That didn't happen either. I try to give myself grace and just tell myself I have supplies on hand now when I want to improvise. So today we'll improvise. Add a little water. This is pretty, but there's a lot of empty space here. I've got a bush out in front of my house that I could take a little bit of greenery from. I think I'll see if I can fill the bottom with that, and then this will look like a good Christmas season, holiday season centerpiece for my table. Definitely would have made the most sense to add these first, but I hadn't thought of it at that point, so maybe I can get them down in there without soaking the candles. I think I like it, I'm not sure. That was a fun little detour. I love it. I'm gonna put it on the table, and then the juice is just about done. I know the effect will be a little underwhelming because it's not dark, but I have to try lighting this now that I've made it. "25 minutes is up. I'm gonna take the lid off of this. Well, first I'll turn it off. Then I'm gonna take the lid off and give it 5 minutes to just gradually cool down before I take these out. The color is so pretty. You might not have a good view right now, you will in a moment. But when the cranberries become hot, their color becomes so vibrant. I'm not sure if you can hear it, I might have just missed it, but there are lids popping over here. Things are sealing. You can see they're infusing at different rates. Some are fully infused and some are just starting. These jars will need to sit for 6 weeks to fully infuse and become juice. So you can't open this right away. I'm gonna set these out because I enjoy how pretty they are, and then I'll mark my calendar so that in 6 weeks I remember that we can start drinking them if we want. You'll see the color get darker and more vibrant as each week passes, and you can just tell that it's becoming going from a week infusion to becoming full juice. So thanks for joining me for these cranberry projects today. I'm on a mission to feed my family clean food and to grow and raise some of that ourselves, buy some from local farmers. So if you want to join me for more projects like these, be sure to like and subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram. I used to be pretty inactive on Instagram, but I'm posting more regularly these days. So you can find me at locally.raised. I won't be with you next week because we are traveling to Texas. We have not been back there since we moved away a year and a half ago. I'll share some updates on Instagram, and then I'll see you again in 2 weeks. I wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving. Take care. Bye.